Hey gangsters, so Matt here with some improv thoughts. I just got my Invisalign aligners in, and they're in my mouth right now, just hot off the press. Put them in today, so I'm a little lispy. But for this week's thoughts and ideas, I'm going to dovetail on last week's a little bit, talking about the dog days of intermediate improv and the four levels of learning, a little more specific. So, level one is what they call unconscious incompetence. So, that's that idea of we're jumping in, we have no expectations, we're brand new, there's no real ego on the line. Um, and then phase two is what they call conscious incompetence. And it is without a doubt the hardest part of learning improv and really probably any other skill or task. Um, and then we get into level three, which they call competent competence. That's not true. It's conscious competence. And then level four is unconscious competence. But I want to focus on level two. It's the hardest phase, but it also has the most payoff. And that's where you will receive the most personal development. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. I brought up the idea of improv helping overcome the fight or flight response. Most of us, when we're going to do public speaking or something in that nature, we'll go into fight or flight. Fight or flight is a physical response. And what happens after enough improv training is your brain starts to figure out that, oh, I don't need to go into fight or flight. It's not appropriate for this situation. That's one of the benefits of improv training. It does help us in that environment. Now, similarly, I think there's another phase related to the ego and our inner critic. When we're in the second phase of conscious incompetence, there's a great fear of being embarrassed, humiliated, and ashamed. It's a really big deal. Now, similar to fight or flight, I believe that your brain and your psychology will figure out that that also is like a false construct. In other words, you do that enough times, you not only won't be in fight or flight, the whole capacity of being embarrassed and ashamed starts to go away. It's really quite remarkable, I gotta say. So, this second phase of improv, or really any other craft, is without a doubt the hardest, but it's the biggest payoff. Because when you get rid of fight or flight, and when you get rid of the fear of being ashamed, humiliated, embarrassed, you can become very present and engaged and in the moment, and it's a big deal. And along with that, consummate with those things are a sense of confidence, a sense of well-being, and not apologizing or not feeling anxious or afraid or like you don't belong or a lot of the things I used to feel. Um, and it's not to say like I feel like I'm better or worse than anybody. I understand my strengths and weaknesses. I really understand who I am better, and I feel like the improv process took my ego through a very transformative journey. So I'll leave it at that. Other thing I want to remark on, a lot of us went to house team night last Monday night. The thing that kind of surprised me was how quick the play was. And I'm not saying in a good or bad way. A lot of the experienced teams put on good shows, but they were very fast. A lot of tag outs, a lot of group play, and it kind of almost undermined the idea of doing good fundamental scene work. And I'm not saying they didn't do that. I'm just saying that they played so fast, there wasn't a lot of time to establish a lot of good fundamental scene work. And we, in our class, we work a lot on emotions, have an emotional connection between the two players. We talk about theme. Let's explore theme. Well, the way these guys were playing, there wasn't really a lot of time for that. And I'm going to elaborate that a little bit more on class. We are going to spend a greater percentage of time in the class doing more group stuff, tag out runs. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain. That's a good for developing a certain muscle in improv. And we're also going to do more montages, which are really kind of just an open creative forum to play as a group. Yes, it starts off as two-person scenes, but you can really be interactive and really explore creatively push your boundaries to find out what works, what doesn't. And we're going to spend more percentage of class working on that. But we're also going to do the other stuff. We're always going to sprinkle in a little bit of short form. We're going to work on exploration of theme. And I have a new exercise that I learned last week, which is really killer. Another small epiphany. Come to class on Saturday and find out what it is. It has to do with how you feel walking into a scene, and then how to play that throughout the scene. And there's a special twist to it, and so it's super cool. The light bulb went on last week. Can't wait to share it with you. Hope to see you in class on Saturday. Peace out.